Right, today I'm going to show you how to make a simple race car game using Scratch. The race car game will look roughly like this. You've got a nice little road, and you can move the car around, and if you go off the road, something bad happens and it resets. So this is what we're going to make. We'll start off by opening Scratch up, and the first thing, as you do always, is delete the cat. The first thing we need to do is to make the sprite. And you can be as complicated as you want with this. Paint a new sprite is what you click on. And I'm going to make a very, very simple car. I'm going to make a red car. Just draw a body. And I'm going to use a brush just to make the round wheels. That's too big. That's a bit better. We'll dab them on. The wheels aren't animated, they don't need to move, so it's not that important. And then you could just leave it like this, but I'm just going to add a few extra little details to differentiate the front from the back, because that is important in a car game. So I'm going to add a little spoiler, because this is a Formula 1 car, on the back. I'm going to add a bumper, but I'm going to add the bumper in a different colour just to make it very clear that that's the front. And I'm going to add a little crash helmet which is got in the middle. Okay, so that is my little tiny car. The only thing you need to do now is to set the centre of the costume. Now, if you've done it right, it will almost be the centre. But you want to make sure the centre is the centre of your car, over the guy's head here. Click OK. And there is my sprite. It's ready to go. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to do a background first. I'm going to click on my stage. Click on background, and I'm going to edit the background. I wanted to make a very, very simple track. You can see from the example, it was just a simple green background. And then what I did, I got a grey paintbrush, a fairly large paintbrush. It needs to be bigger than the car. So I choose the biggest size. And then just simply draw a road. And the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a finish line. So I'm going to draw a line and I'm going to keep it a different colour, something very different, something purple. Oops, and I've made a mistake there. Beauty of undo. I'm going to do this and put a line about there. So there is my finish line. Okay, that's my level done. Click OK, and there you go. Already it's starting to look like something. Now we've got to start adding in the programming. How do we program it? And the first thing we need to do, of course, is to add some programming to the car, because at the moment the car doesn't do anything. It doesn't move around. So we're going to add some controls. These controls are going to be based on the keys. So when a key is pressed, something happens. Now I'm going to just set up sort of a basic one. When a button is pressed, it's going to move 10 steps. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to have 4. This just makes things a bit quicker than going backwards and forwards to menus. So let's start off with this, and you can test this straight away. When the up arrow is pressed, I want it to move, say, 10 steps. And as you can see, it did that. When the down arrow is pressed, I want it to go back. Okay, so it's going forwards and backwards. That's what it's doing at the moment. Now, when I turn the right arrow, I actually want it to turn right. So I'm going to drag on this 15 degrees, and now it will start to turn in a circle. And then when I turn the left arrow, I want it to turn 15 degrees. You can do this slightly differently. You can actually make it turn and then move. You've got a number of options. The only slight problem I've got with this is it's moving, I think, a bit too quickly. So just to fix that, just change the number of steps, but make it consistent. So -5 steps makes it go backwards, 5 and 5. And you can test it straight away just by using the keys. So you click on here, and that's a bit better. It's a bit nicer. I like that. I can actually move it along the path. Okay, so that's important. Right. So now I have some controls. Now the next thing we need to work out is where does the car start from, because otherwise the car could start anywhere on the level. Now the easiest way of doing this actually is to put the car where you want it to be, and then you notice, you see up here you've got the X and Y, it actually tells you where it is. So what I'm going to do is, when clicked, I want the car to go to these coordinates, and because I'm on the sprite, it actually puts in the right coordinates, so you don't even have to type anything. It's really nice. It's a nice little shortcut. And also, I want to make sure it points in a specific direction. I don't want it pointing on Y, I want it pointing to the finish line. So if I do 90 degrees, okay, if I click it, it does the right thing. So you can test it just by dragging the car somewhere, click it, and it goes exactly where I want it. It goes to there, facing in the right direction. So that's what we want. So now the car starts properly, and I can move it, as you can see, around the level fairly easily. But as it is, this isn't really a game, it doesn't do anything. So I'm going to reset the car back to the beginning, and we're going to add in the game part of it. So we want to get to the end without hopefully mucking up. We want to stay on the road. So what we're going to do, we are going to again put in when clicked, and we're going to set up a script, a piece of programming now. So when it hits the green grass, the car resets and it goes back to the beginning. It crashes, okay, for lack of a better description. Okay, so we're going to add that piece of software. So I've got when clicked, and this is going to happen forever, of course. And I want it to happen if it is touching something. Okay, where's the if command? There it is. If it is touching something, and this is where the sensors come into this in this piece of software. And I can set it to touch a certain color. So currently, this is the sprite. This is the program. So when this object touches the green, I want something to happen. So it's touching. Now I don't want it pink, I want it green. So you just click on the colour, take it green. So if the car touches the green, I want it to say, we don't want to say hello, we can say, oh no, you've come off the track. Okay, and it can say it for a number of seconds. I'm going to set it for 1 second, and then afterwards I want it to reset, and I actually want it just to go back to here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just duplicate this little bit and whack it in there, because it's a lot faster. So if I just test the program, so if I move along, if I touch it, oh no, you've come off the tracks, and it flicks straight back. Maybe that's a bit too quick. If you change this to 2 seconds and run the program again, you get a little bit longer to read it, then it flicks you back to the beginning. Okay, so that's the part of the game. Now we of course want a way to win the game, don't we, as well? And then it's very simple actually. I would again copy this, because the commands will be very similar, but this time I want it to touch the purple line. But this time I don't want it to say, oh no, you come off the track. I want it to say, well done, you've won. You have won. And I don't want it to reset, so I'm just going to pull those out, chuck them over there, it vanishes. So now hopefully this time I'm just going to stop the program and start it again. If I can do it properly, this is under pressure because of course I need to actually get it right. If I hit the green it won't work. Well done, you have won. And that's it, and that's the end of the game. Now what would be nice here is to know, well, how fast should I do that in? Because if we're going to play this game with children, how we're going to do that. So what we can do there is we can add a timer in, and the program itself actually has an inbuilt timer. You click on sensing, you can stop that. Click on sensing, you can tick timer, and then it pops up at the top. Now you notice it's 557 seconds because that's how long I've been playing the game for. We do need to make sure we reset the timer. So when we start a level, the timer resets, and if I click it now you can see that the timer resets. But then how do we know how fast something was happening? Well, it's actually quite simple. Going back to here, this is part of our winning. I want to know what time I got when I won. So literally, I go to looks, and I want to say the timer. Okay, and this is where this program actually, you can start pulling together all these different elements. If I drag timer in there, it will say the timer. And you can see it's starting to do it because the program's still running. The only slight problem with it is the fact that at the minute it's going to say the timer 2 seconds after it said this phrase. So you actually have to subtract 2 seconds from it. It says it 2 seconds after and it said well done, you've won. So the way you actually do that is use these operators and you whack it in there, and I want for it to say timer but minus 2 seconds from it. Okay? I've done it the wrong way around, I apologise. It should be the other way around. I want it to do it there for 2 seconds. Okay, as it was doing it that way around. So this will, so the timer speed minus 2 seconds for this. If I click stop and reset, timer appears at the top. I quickly do the game. I've crossed the line. This is 9 seconds, but it goes back to 7.99 because that's when I did it 2 seconds before. Hopefully that will help you, allow you to make the game fairly easily. If you are interested in knowing how to do extra levels, what to do next, watch the next video. Thank you.